Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Griffin, Indiana. It is late winter, and, well, as you can see, we have decided to not skip through the day because, well, we woke up this morning and discovered the ground has thawed, and guess what? No farmer bypasses a chance to make some money. So there's some pretty good fertilizing contracts out there. So scratch what we said earlier in Wednesday's video related to holding off on buying the fertilizer spreader. We've bought ourselves a fertilizer spreader. We're down to $70,000 because we also bought ourselves some fertilizer to go along with it. And, well, we're going to make this money back and hopefully then some by running through some fertilizer contracts. In fact, right now we've got fertilizing contract on field 16, $14,000. Fertilizer contract on field 18, $23,000. Then we had a fertilizing contract on field 17 for another $20,000, but it got taken off the board. So I guess somebody else took care of that one for the other farmer. So I have tossed this working width up to the max, 45 meters. I want to get these contracts through. That way we can basically get the money and run, if you will, because we don't want other farmers coming in on our potential of making up some good profit. So again, we've got 14,000, 23,000. I got a 6,000 one and a 3,000 one. I'm going to do hopefully all four of these contracts. And that's going to hopefully put us in a good position to be able to continue to buy what we talked about buying in the previous video, on top of already owning our fertilizer spreader, and therefore getting us one step closer to being fully sufficient as far as farming goes. So this video is brought to you by Jamberry. Thank you for being a farm baron. I have to say, now that we are kind of officially at the close of our very first 3-day seasons year here on Griffin, Indiana, it's been a fairly interesting and fairly refreshing way to play. Now, for the most part, we have played with our clock at 2 times speed, and pretty much nearly every day, other than maybe midsummer, when we had the harvest, had to get the straw, and we had to plant our second crop. Maybe other than midsummer, I pretty much fast forwarded through a fair bit of each game day. And what that means is I had more than enough time to do everything that I wanted to get done. And if I wanted to do more, I basically could. So I think 2 times speed for how I play maybe is a little slow for 3-day seasons. Maybe if I bump that clock up to 4 times, it might be a little bit more in my favor. Again, for just owning 3 fields and for using the size of equipment that I have been using for this first year. Now, I suspect some of that equipment size is going to be going a little smaller for year 2, as we are looking to be able to afford to buy our stuff as opposed to lease our stuff. But at any rate, yeah, what I thought might turn out to be something where we were really pressed for time and maybe we would miss out on doing some harvests because of weather. Weather's turned out in our favor so far. We look at our weather. Today is the last day of winter, so that means Saturday is the first day of spring. Looks like we still have rain in the forecast. Then we have mid-spring, late spring, early summer, midsummer, late summer. So we still have rain in the forecast for mid-summer. The first day of summer is still looking pretty good. So if we can manage to get our barley ready in time, then midsummer or early summer might be the time that we get that harvested. And that would let us, albeit plant in the rain, potentially we'll be in a position to plant in the rain in mid-summer to do soybeans, or if we really want to get our corn in the ground, then we're going to get that done in early summer because that is the deadline for corn. If we zoom on out, you'll see what a 45-meter working width looks like. We are flinging some fertilizer. We'll be done this contract in no time. It's one reason why I really like this spreader over the in-game Breedall spreaders. While they have a greater capacity, they only throw a maximum, I think, like 18 meters. So that would be a lot more passes up and down the field. It would take us a lot longer to complete the contract. And at that rate, it would take us, give us an opportunity to maybe miss out on collecting some contracts. So there we are. $16,000 richer. I think I'm going to go ahead and buy another pallet of fertilizer. That will top us off. Again, we use just over half on that particular field. The next field is bigger. It's paying us out more, so let's go ahead and top off our fertilizer spreader. The next contract will definitely put us in the green for the day, which is what we strive for. We want to be in the green every single day that we can. Let's see here, we need to get down here because the shop is on the other side of the railroad tracks. And maybe one day we'll clean our tractor. I know that is probably disturbing some folks. Just like driving over the railroad tracks is probably disturbing some folks. So some interesting news in Farm Sim Double Deuce. I recently became aware that apparently individuals who buy the Eshop version of the game, we can go ahead and buy one more pallet. People who buy the Eshop version of the game, so that would be the version of the game that you get directly from Giants at their website. In 22, that version of the game will have the ability to auto update. So previously, in all other previous releases of, I think this is a field. All the previous releases of Farm Sim, basically, the game had to be manually updated if it was bought from the eShop. But now it's going to auto update, just like the Seasons or the Steam version or the Epic version. So that is a pretty interesting feature to have. I know some people have deliberately purchased the Steam version because of its auto update capability. So the fact that now the eShop version will do auto updates, it means that people do have maybe a bit more choice in how it updates. Now, as of the recording of this video, I do not know if the auto updating can be turned off. I have very good reasons why I would want to turn it off. An example is in 19, I play and record using the Steam version, but I also owned an Eshop version of the game that I used to install and run a private dedicated server at the house. And being that I am in the IT field as a professional day job, I don't like the idea of things running and auto updating on a server level system. So I would like to maintain the ability to know when that is being updated by having it be a manual update. There's also times where maybe players want to not so much be the guinea pig on updates. We've had times before where an update changes your control scheme. An update causes a certain map or mod to stop working until it can be updated itself. So as such, then being able to disable auto updates would allow you to basically say, well, I'm just gonna ride this one out for a day or two, a week, and just see if other people run into issues. And if they do, then maybe I'll just kind of sit back and wait for a patch to resolve those issues, or for a mod or map to be particularly updated to then work with that new game version while I can continue to play and have the experience that I would like to have with the old version. That is a good reason to also disable auto update, which you can do in both Epic and Steam. You can go in and basically say, don't auto update this game. I want to basically manually go in and flag it to be updated when I'm ready. So being able to tell the eShop version that you want to not auto update is, for me, something important to know. Now, what I have heard is that the update mechanism is activated when you launch the game. So I guess it launches the game, it goes out and sees maybe in an update server a file that basically says this is the current version of the game. It then references a file it might have on, your local system to say, okay, this is the version that I have here. This is the version that is up available on the update server. If the update server version is newer than the current version on system, then prompt for update. Maybe it's some type of logic like that. If that is the case, then maybe there is an XML feature to go in and say auto update no, turn it to false, just like we can turn on and off the dev console by going into game settings, finding the dev console option and changing it from false to true. Maybe there's going to be a setting that relates to updating that's set to true that we can change to false and basically disable that. I don't know yet, but I tell you, if I do not hear an answer from Giants, it will be one of the first things that I look for when I do get access to the game, is to see if there is a way of disabling the auto update. So I just wanted to share that news with everybody. So if you have maybe been hesitant to buy the eShop version because you knew that it required manual updates and you just didn't want to have to mess with that, well, then you can be rest assured that now in FS22, the eShop version will do auto updates, or will have the capability of doing auto updates, so that then you don't have to worry too much about that. You do still need to keep track of your game key, so that is still something you need to keep track of. That's still something that Steam and Epic kind of have going for them, is that they keep track of your keys, your game keys for you. I'll tell you the process that I do is I have Google Drive, I have Microsoft OneDrive, but there's endless numbers of other online storage options. There's Dropbox, there's Box, there's, like I said, an endless number of other options. But what I do is I basically upload to one of those resources the installer file, and then I create a small text file, and then in that text file I basically put my install key and then have it up on the cloud storage so that in the event that I do need to reinstall, I can basically go to the cloud storage, one, have the installer file there, two, have the key. And you might say, well, why do you store a copy of the installer? You can just download it again from Giants, which is true. I could download it again from Giants. But what if I want to install a very specific version? If I go to Giants, I might not be able to. I might have to install the latest version, but maybe I don't want to do that. So I basically keep copies of the different versions. So I have version 1.0 of FS19. I've got version 1.1. I've got basically iterations of each release, kind of just up in cloud storage. And I do the same with DLCs. I have a folder for each DLC. And in that folder, I have basically a downloaded copy of each version of the DLC. So when they update the DLC, I'll grab that and upload it to cloud storage in its own unique folder. And then I'll also keep the DLC download and activation key in that same DLC folder in cloud storage. So the added benefit is that I can have it synced to any PC that I want. It's also up in the cloud. So I've got a local copy. I can have multiple local copies if I tell that folder to sync across multiple computers. I also have a cloud copy. I could access that copy and that information from my phone if I want to, from any web browser on any computer if I want to. And it really just makes keeping track of that type of stuff a whole lot easier. So I just thought I'd share that information with you also. So we are nearly done in this field, $23,000. Take a look at our finance screen. We're down at $21,000. So yeah, we're going to be in the profits after this particular contract. And then we'll be able to pick up the $6,000 contract, $3,000 contract. So we're going to be about $10,000 to the good once we do all of these contracts and have already purchased in our spreader, and we'll have some fertilizer left over, obviously, no doubt. So we'll be in a position to then fertilize our second crop when that comes time. Let me go ahead and finish this one out. I'll do a couple other contracts, and we'll come back and just talk about where we are with respect to late winter year one here on Griffin, Indiana. Happy days, I have to say. Happy days are here again. And that is because, well, fast forward the clock a little bit in order to get a good thumbnail. And on a side note, I don't know if you've ever run into this, but don't you hate when you go and make a video and then you realize you never got a thumbnail picture? Oh, I realized that for Wednesday's video. So yeah, so whatever thumbnail I was able to grab out of the actual video and try to use for the thumbnail, I'm gonna have to be doing that as opposed to a dedicated thumbnail image. But at any rate, I fast forward the clock a little bit to get the sun in a good position to grab a thumbnail for this video, and lo and behold, some more contracts popped up. $9,700 for field 30, $9,200 for field 13, and we still have that $3,200 for field 7. So an opportunity to make another $19,000 or $20,000 off of fertilizer contracts. Cha-ching! I am definitely going to, well, take advantage of that. We are up to $111,000. So we are definitely in the green. We're going to be able to stay in the green. And like I said, I'm going to use that money to buy the butterfly mower, buy the front mower, buy the windrower, and then we'll just have to see how much money we have left over to then know where we might be in a position to, one, have money to lease the baler, to hopefully either make silage or probably hay. I'm probably going to make hay off the first cut, simply because the silage price isn't the greatest until winter, and I'm not really sure if I really want to store all of that silage. Although, I mean, yeah, depending on how much extra work I want to do, I might make silage sausages using the Anderson bale tube wrapper. So we'll just have to see how it comes in springtime when it comes time to do our first cut. But at any rate, we're going to see how much we have then to lease our baler, and then see how much we have to maybe put toward a seeder and planter going into needing to plant our second crop. So guys, with that, I'm just going to go ahead and close out the video here. I've got some fertilizer to buy. Like I said, we've got a couple more fields to get contracted on, so we can get ourselves some good money. As you are seeing the credits roll, these are all members of the channel. They have sponsored the channel by their monthly membership. If you're interested in doing so, there is a link in the description, or there is a join button down below the video just beside the subscribe button. Go ahead, take a close look at that. We offer 3 different levels of membership and everything. So until next time, happy farming.